wouldn't have. Good evening, everyone. My name is Robin, Certified Nutrition Specialist, and welcome to One Simple Change. And we're talking about how to grow your own food with ease. Yes, it is March, National Nutrition Month. It's a really good month. It's always a good month to talk about health, wellness, and your nutrition. But today specifically, we're going to talk about how you can grow your own food with ease. And there's a way that we discovered, I don't know that we discovered it, we didn't create it, but a way to grow with less water, no soil. You're not digging in the ground, even though a lot of folks like to do that. But we found a way to do that aeroponically, hydroponically. It waters itself. It's highly, highly, highly nutritious. And we're just going to talk about it. And if you're a visitor and a guest and you have some questions, you're welcome to put that in the chat. And if we have some time at the end, we will definitely, or you can unmute yourself. But as we're talking, when questions come up, I will make sure that we get those questions answered. And we really want to talk to these growers. They're all across the country in different climates, as well as they grow indoors and outdoors. And we're just going to have this conversation. So actually, Renetta, I'm going to start with you. And I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions about growing. What made you decide to grow your own food?
Oh, that's a good question. Wow. So I grew up, with food. My mother, we raised collard greens and apricots and roses and everything. So my mom was a green thumb. And I always wanted to do that, but my thumbs are not green
At all.
So I sadly confess that there's a cactus who just didn't make it. And I know. And so I just, let it alone. But when I heard about the tower growing, I thought, oh, I want to try. And my husband happens to be very good with it. And so I asked him, if we got one, would you kind of help and work it? And so that's how we got started. Yeah. But I wanted to have that freshness because you don't get that in the store.
You don't. And you have a picture of yours behind you. And
yes.
we'll see some others as the time goes on. Tell us what you're growing and what you have grown inside of your tower.
I feel like I've grown up almost everything, but so right now I'm growing broccoli, Swiss chard, spinach, arugula, butter lettuce, which is my favorite lettuce on the planet. I have mint and stevia and strawberries, tomatoes, all the peppers that I can find. So, I mean, a plethora, just a bunch of, I got some broccoli rabe. I have some pak choy.
Wow.
And it's just, as you can see behind me, just growing.
And how long did it take from planting to eating? And I know everything is different in terms of how long it takes to grow, but generally, how long did it take you from?
We actually got the seedlings, I will confess. So we didn't do the initial process that way. So we got the seedlings and it was 3 weeks we were eating.
3 weeks eating. So eating, like planted it and eating. And then I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to go to Ann Lee, Ann and Jack, and we'll circle back because I want to give everybody a chance to say. But what would you say, honestly, what you love the most about growing your own food? What is that's my one question, and I have another question for you. But what do you love the most?
I love the most, man, I learned so much. It tastes great. It's easy and it's inexpensive. That's what I really love. I'm gonna say that.
It's inexpensive. Okay. And then I always want to be on, this is, I think we can, talk about all the wonderful aspects of it. Are there any challenges? Anything that you're like, that's a challenge? Any challenges?
Well, yeah, I mean, you do, you go out there and you managing the alkaline and putting the
Oh,
food in right and things like that.
okay.
Um, but once you embrace that part of it, it becomes the fun part. And then another really wonderful part is sharing it.
Yes.
Yes.
You just
So
did that. You just said that you had a dinner party and you
yeah,
had,
last night, so I had some guests coming over and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I ran out to my tower and I grabbed some stuff that I was gonna cook and the rest I put in a bowl for a salad and ooh wee deliciousness.
I do have one more question. So where are you in the country? Are
I'm
you?
here in California. It snowed here today. It
I know.
snowed at my job today. I'm very upset about it. But I'm in California where normally it's a little warmer and we can do things. And I have both an inside tower. That's what you're looking at in my picture. It's my inside tower, and I also have an outside.
That tower. So you go in and out.
I go
Okay.
in and out. Mhm.
Thank you for that. Hang tight. We'll be back to see you. I want to see Ann Lee. Ann Lee, can you pop on and say hello?
Here we are. Hello, everybody.
Hi. How are
We're
you?
we're we're good. We're in the sunny South.
You're in the sunny South. So you all are in South Carolina. Thank
Correct.
you so much. So I want to ask a couple of questions of you all. My first question, how long have you been growing?
10 years.
10 years.
10 years.
Now, and do you grow inside or outside?
We started out outside, and we are growing inside now. Our major complication was we have outside critters like deer
Oh,
and that kind of thing. And so
okay.
because we grow inside now, we have it actually in our garage. We have the light package and we're able to grow year round and not have to worry so much about the heat or the cool once we have it in the garage. And so that's why we chose to do that.
I love it. Now, would you mind sharing, and I'm putting on the spot, how young you are?
Oh, we're so young.
I know. How young are you?
I'm close to 90.
No, you're not. Tell the truth. We're going to be a comedy team here. Tell
Okay.
how old you are, Jack.
85.
That is close. That's closer to 90 than
He's 85 and I'm 80.
y'all are just amazing. Yeah,
thank
everybody's
you.
like, yeah, we're inspired. So you're never too young or too old or
No.
anything. Wow,
No.
10
It's
years.
awesome. Eating fruits and vegetables, you never outgrow that. I don't care how old you are.
I love you guys. I've never even met you before, but I love you. And so you've been growing for 10 years inside and outside. So tell us I know over the 10 years you've grown all kinds of things, but what are some of your favorite things to grow?
Well, Jack does most of it. I like to pick it and cook it and eat it. And he basically does all the taking care of it.
Okay.
And so I'll let him tell you that because he also, before we had the tower garden, we had an in-ground garden. And he grew a lot of things that way. And sometimes we have both of them going. So I'll let him tell you what he likes to grow.
What do you like to grow, Jack?
I grow mostly crunchy type vegetables that you can make into a salad.
Okay.
And some of them I've tried don't work out because they're too limp. Same growing in the tower garden.
Okay.
And another thing too, when we had a tower garden outside, the insects were a problem too.
Okay, let me ask you about that. So when you grew outside and you had insects, now I know you grow inside in your garage. What did you do to mitigate the insects? Was there something that you would put on there? What did you do to make them go away?
Fan.
A fan outside?
Yeah.
In the garage.
In the garage. Okay.
Sometimes.
You can use a fan to pollinate too.
Okay.
And
And
the
so-
fan does help with the little aphids and some of the small insects. The fan helps keep them away.
Be it that you've grown in the ground and then with the tower, what's the difference? What do you like better, the tower or the in-ground or the in the ground?
Well, it depends on what you're growing. If you're growing stuff that has a root to it, a bowl,
Mhm.
then you can't grow it in a tower garden.
Okay.
It has to be grown in the ground.
Okay. Like
Like,
a potato or,
Potatoes or your Japanese turnips, which is with the white root.
okay.
And I don't care for the ones that's got the purple tops on them. They're
Okay.
bitter as quinine.
And then the other thing, growing in ground, like we love Kentucky Wonder green beans.
Mhm.
And so we usually grow them every year outside, and we actually freeze some of them.
Okay.
And then tomatoes do better in an environment where they're easily pollinated outside.
Okay.
You can pollinate when you have a tower garden inside, but it's a little more involved. But
Mhm.
outside, you've got the insects helping you do that with the
Okay.
pollination. So you have to think about what you're growing and where you grow it. That way. We just enjoy having crunchy lettuces all year round because we love eating salad. So mostly we grow more things like turnip greens and all kinds of varieties of lettuce. That we did the butter lettuce, like another lady said a few minutes ago, and we do some of the ones that had the red in them. I can't think of the name of them now, but and I love mustard greens. I like a little bit of the flavor of the mustard green in the salad.
Okay.
And so,
That's Swiss chard.
It's Swiss
yeah,
chard.
Swiss chard.
All right.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the one I was trying to remember, right? But
So
it just really depends.
and I see some of the questions in the chat, so I'll get them out answered. But would you say if a person were, I'll use the word lazy. That's what I use for myself. What would you recommend? Ground gardening or the tower?
I'd say all the way around, for us, it would be the tower garden because that's the year round. Of
Oh,
course, you
yeah.
can grow most of the year in ground too. You have what they call your summer, plants, and then you have your fall plants, which would
Yeah.
be collards and stuff like that.
But it's
Okay.
just easier because when you're growing in the tower, you don't have dirt and you don't have weeds. And you don't have to worry about getting too much water or not enough water because it takes
Yeah.
care of that. You
Takes
don't have to
care.
worry over it,
Thank you, Ann. So 2 more questions and then we'll go to our next guest. So someone wants to know, where in South Carolina are you?
We're in Charleston, South Carolina, which is on the coast.
We're in the
Charleston.
low country where it stays wet all the time.
Okay. And then another question is, how much space in the house is needed for the indoor tower? How much space?
Well, we don't have ours in the house. We have it in the garage.
We
But
got a 3-car garage, so
yeah,
it takes the center part of the garage,
but
the center
but
bay.
how many feet would you say about around the tower? Because it doesn't take the whole bay.
No,
But I'm thinking what, more like 5 or 6 feet square, something like that. About 5 or 6 feet square is good so that you can get around it and pick the produce.
And we'll show you all a picture of the tower inside so y'all see that. And what I did say, well, there's another question. Can you grow broccoli inside of the tower? That's the
We
question.
haven't tried broccoli, but I understand you can. Yes.
Yeah, you
We
can
have not
grow
tried that. Right.
broccolini. Bernetta, have you grown broccoli? Yeah, you were growing broccoli. Yeah, yes. Thank you so much,
Sure.
Ann and Lee, and we'll come back to you guys. Just so inspired by you. And I just love it. And someone in the chat said, yes, when you have the tower inside, you don't have to mess up your manicured nails. That's what someone said. So yeah.
That's right. That's true.
Thank you so
It's
much.
easy to take a bowl and go pick what you want for any meal, and you can do it in less than 5 minutes.
Yes,
It's
that is
awesome.
that's the point of the easy. All right, thank you. Hang out with us for a minute. And then Anna is in Puerto Rico. So where's Anna? Anna is staying up a little bit late for us. Anna, are you somewhere? Where are you?
Aquí.
Okay, I see you. So Anna, you are in Puerto Rico. What's the climate like there?
Hot.
Oh, it's hot. Okay. So do
Yeah.
you grow inside or outside?
I grow outside. I have one indoor tower and I
Uh-huh.
have the community set. So that's 12 outdoor towers.
Right. So you have 12 towers. No, did you start off? How many did you start off with? Did you start
I
off?
started off with the indoor one in Georgia.
Uh-huh.
And that one I was using it indoors, and yeah, if I had to pick from the two, I like the indoors better because it's easier to manage the bugs.
Ah, so you like it indoors better.
Or
Interesting.
just for the bug reason. But for the outdoors here, it worked well here. I put 6 in the front of the house and 6 in the back. And the weather here varies between right now 84 and 72 degrees. In the
Wow.
summer it'll go up to like 95.
That's a lot of
So-
towers.
When it gets really, yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
eating all
And
that
we're
food?
just 2 people.
I was supposed to say, who's eating all of that food? What are you doing with all
Well,
the food?
I was selling, I sold part of it to a little store nearby. I sold a lot of lettuce. And I gave some veggies to my neighbors. I gave them cucumbers, I gave them lettuce, broccoli. And then we put 6 towers in the backyard, but in the backyard, there's a huge tree that has a canopy over it. And I found that the canopy of the tree, and when it rains a lot here, was too humid. It was too much humidity for the
Okay.
towers. So I just took those down, and we're gonna move back to the States now, so we're packing them up.
What made you get 12? That's a lot.
But yeah, because I want to do a community farm, and I'm gonna open a wellness center based around plants. So part of the idea is to have a little farm, and so we could do workshops around it and have it provide food for the cafe. And
Wow. Wow. So tell us some of the things that you've grown. You have a lot.
I've grown mammoth sunflowers on it. Don't let it get mammoth because it was a pain to get it out. But they grew to like 8 feet tall in the tower.
Oh my, so you grow flowers too.
I grew some flowers. I grew okra on it. Also, whatever you plant on it, just don't let it get too tall and crazy because the roots will block the water in there. So after it's like, maybe 2 feet, you want to take it out.
Okay.
But that was, to bring the bees. I grew some regular flowers to bring the bees to help pollinate the other veggies. And I harvested 40 pounds of the cherry tomatoes on there this year, 30 pounds of cucumbers. I got like 20 pounds of butternut squash. I had a tower full of the curly leaf lettuce. I have some parsley, cilantro. Ooh, these tiny peppers, I see. And then the regular sweet peppers. The basil went crazy in there, so watch the basil. I did not know that they grew so much, but they grow a lot. So I've had a lot of pesto and the pasta. I made pizza.
Wow.
Broccoli. The broccoli gets
Broccoli.
huge on there too.
And now how much, so you're in a warmer climate. How often are you, I know you have 12 of them, but let's pretend you just have, one, right? How often are you putting water in just one of them? Because I know you have 12 of them, so, but if you had to. Mhm,
I check it every 2 or 3 days,
mhm.
depending. Like if I'm growing something that takes up a lot of water, like cucumbers or squash or tomatoes, you gotta, and it's hot, it will drink a lot of water. So you gotta watch it like every 2 to 3 days.
Okay, that's a good, and I would say this with my tower, when it like in the winter or the colder months, I didn't have 12 and I wasn't growing huge plants, because the bigger your plants are, bigger being they're thirsty. If they're growing squash or cucumbers, they drink more water. But when I was just doing the lettuces, I would change my water or look at my water really every other week. Yeah. Because I'm super I'm that person that, because you clearly love towers because you have 12 of them. But I just want my food to grow. I don't want to be out there fooling with it too much. So, but I love the fact that you have 12 and then one inside, right?
And we moved them from Georgia to here, and now we're gonna move to Ohio. So that's why I like the tower gardens, because you can just take your little farm with you. Like, you know, we're gonna harvest everything we have now, take them down, pack them, and then ship it over there. We'll do it all over again.
You said something, and then I'm going to ask you one of the questions that came in the chat, but you said something very good, where when it's time to go, you take your towers with you, where if it were an in-ground garden, not so much. So having the towers, you just pack them up. So a question said, change the water, question mark, with the plants in it? You add the water. So they want to know how do you add the water? And then even how do you change the water? We'll answer that question too. So how do you add water to the tower?
Well, I have a hose that reaches the front and the back, and then I put a filter at the end of it so that the plants drink filtered water, because since it's veggies that you're gonna eat, you want to put the cleanest water in there. You don't really want to put straight up tap water. There's a lot of chemical residues and pesticides and antibiotics and antidepressants found in the water, and fluoride, that's a neurotoxin. So you want to put clean water in there because you're gonna be putting this in your body. So
Yeah, love that. Okay, so you have a filter on your water hose. That is a good point. Someone said out there. So you have a filter on your water hose, and then you just put there's a little port, and you just put the water in there. And so the other question is how often are you changing the water, whereby you're taking all of the water out and then putting a whole new batch of water in? How often are you doing that?
I just do that maybe every 6 months, like completely changing and cleaning out the bin. Like after I harvest the tower, then I might, you know, take it out, clean it, and put water in there. But as long as the pH is good and there's no like residues or a bunch of dirt and a bunch of nasty stuff in the water, like if it looks clean and healthy, I will leave it in there, because with the roots and the water, it builds, you know, good bacteria in there. So you don't need to change it that much, but I would say every 6 months, harvest tower, take it apart, clean it, and then plant again.
Yeah, and then we'll come back to you, Anna. I'm going to bring on Donna. So just for those that, thank you so much for staying up really late for this. Those that are listening, so what Anna was saying is that when you clean it about every 6 months, meaning that you take it apart, you rinse it, you wash it out, and you can still save your plant. So you don't have to, you know, they don't have to be disposed of. You are able to take them out. But when you're just filling the water, be it every couple of days or every couple of weeks, there's a port, and you just put your water hose in there. And then as far as how often do you check the pH, you check it every time you put water in it, right? Do you do that?
Yeah, every time you put the water, you're gonna put the minerals too. So then after you let it sit for a little bit, check the pH, and then you might need to adjust it up or down. When you order your tower, it comes with the pH up and the pH down bottles. Put the instructions on there and test it again in 30 minutes.
Got it. And yeah, so when you get a tower, it's self-contained. So it has everything that you need to get up and growing, including seeds. Questions that come up about the seeds are the seeds organic? And so when you get the seeds from Tower Garden, they're non-GMO, they're pesticide free, they're in tip-top shape. But if you go out and you buy some seeds from wherever, then whatever you get is what's gonna go in there. So you wanna make sure that you get the top quality seeds. There's vendors all over the country that sell non-GMO top quality seeds. So let's bring on Donna. And Donna is in, so we had South Carolina. So we had Ann and Jack, South Carolina, growing indoors and outdoors. And it's cold over there sometimes, I think, in South Carolina, maybe. We have Bernetta in California, where it's supposed to be sunny, but it's snowing. She grows indoors and out. Then we have Anna in Puerto Rico, who has a whole 12, 13 towers, 12 outside and 1 inside. And then Donna is in Phoenix, where it is hot in the summer. I don't know what the winter is like, but where do you have your tower in the background somewhere? Because I know, yeah, so that they can see. Oh, it's okay. So that is an indoor tower, because it's nighttime right now. So that's an indoor tower. And Donna, we're going to talk about the lights and all of that. what are you growing right now? And when you see her fan over there, so it's her fan is.
There's my fan that I put on. So I am growing peppermint, amaranth, calendula, that's a flower, it's an edible one. I am growing bok choy, rainbow chard. There's some celery. Celery right there. The celery is kind of old. I just put this tower in about 14 days ago.
Wow.
And that celery was from the last one. I have collard greens on here. I have kale on here. I have some pear tomatoes. I have some sweet peppers, spinach. I have some mustard greens on here. I have dill. I have lemon basil. Let's go around here. Oh, that said peppermint.
Mhm.
You see those flowers are on there
Wow.
growing. I have arugula and I put lavender this time. Didn't have good with lavender before, but this one's doing really good.
Okay.
What else? Lemon basil. Yeah.
So I want to ask you some questions that I normally get, some of the nitty gritty questions that people have. So I'm going to ask this question from you, of you. We asked it before, but this is what people are most concerned about, are about bugs. So how do you handle bugs? What do they come in there? What do you do to mitigate bugs?
I have had a couple of nets in the summertime, especially because I had flowers growing out in front. So I
Mhm.
use neem oil, which is edible.
Okay.
I mix 1 teaspoon of neem oil into some water, and I usually put a couple of drops of dish soap in there
Uh-huh.
and spray them on. You don't spray them with the lights on. You usually should spray them with the lights off.
Okay.
And with that, the fan does keep the bugs off.
Okay.
And one time I had aphids that came on there too, and you spray them. So usually I don't have to spray too much with it inside.
Got it.
But occasionally you'll get it. I use seedlings, and occasionally I have brought aphids home
With you.
from there, and then I just treat them right away.
Treat them right away.
If you don't let it get too full,
Mhm.
if you harvest it often, you will
Okay.
eliminate that
But-
problem.
And then let's talk about the lights. So when you're growing outside, you don't need lights because there's the sun, but growing inside your home, or people grow in their bedroom or in the garage, what are the lights for? So it would seem obvious, but what are they for, and what are they for, and how long are they on?
So the lights is like the sun, they have to have sunlight. So these are grow lights, and they represent the sun. They mimic the sun.
Mhm.
Mines are on from 6 a.m. when I come downstairs, and I turn them off at 10 a.m. They should be on about 18 hours.
18 hours.
So it's off all night from 6 to 10. And then when I get up in the morning, it's back on.
How does that affect your power bill?
Well, these lights don't. Actually, my electricity went down when I got these.
Really?
Because these lights are LED lights, and they don't use that much energy.
I know the temperature be changing, so.
Okay, I think we found the mute. Okay, we muted some. So
Yeah, so they don't use that much energy.
got it. And then someone wants to know, have you ever had spider mites?
I've never had spider mites. I've had customers who've had it, and they have treated it the same way with neem oil. It takes a little while, like 7 to 14 days.
Okay.
And I think we've instructed them, Troy from True Garden here, we've instructed them to spray them, every couple of days until you get them under control.
Got it. Let's talk about support. So someone being new, they don't know the first thing about growing. They get their tower, it shows up in a box, and then they're like, okay, what do I do next? What is there support for those who grow? What do you do if you just don't know what to do? Who helps? Who do you ask questions to?
Well, there is support. For my customers, I direct them. I talk to them and talk them through it. If it's something that I'm not sure about, that's something new, which is putting the tower together, a third grader can do it. It's so easy.
Yeah.
but I will direct them to YouTube, because we do have a lot of YouTube videos that cover just about everything you need to know. And if that doesn't work, I have Troy here who owns True Garden, and he can give them instructions. He also have classes. So my customers, I always direct them. You know, if you want to take a Tower Garden class, it's $25, but it's a wealth of knowledge. And some of them have done that, and they really appreciate it.
And I think, well, I don't think, I know, as a big old community, and we have a lot of resources. And some people learn by going to class, some people learn by reading. So whatever, like those of you who are listening, and when you guys decide to get a tower, just rest assured that there's support at every level in any way that you like to digest it, be it through social media or, again, live classes. And then we tend to have online Zoom meetups where you can growers. Thank you so much, Donna.
There also is several Facebook pages. I've even got a Tower Garden person off of that, because, you know, I answer questions on the Facebook page, Tower Garden. And people have called me from there, you know, and bought the tower and, you know, started from there. So there's so many resources for you. You're not in this alone. If you get a Tower Garden, there's so many resources that we can direct you to, you know, and the instructions that come with it is pretty good. Yeah.
I think, and I want y'all to know, you can grow strawberries. We have people here that grow strawberries, watermelon, cantaloupe.
Anything that's not a root vegetable or grow on a tree, you can grow on the Tower Garden.
Got it.
I've grown squash on there. You know, I mean, you can just grow anything on it. Even inside. Inside, you may not have the pleasure of having the bees to pollinate it, but you can self-pollinate. I have self-pollinated. It's very easy. The fan and taking a little Q-tip, touching the inside of the flower and touching it to another one. You can, there's so many ways to do anything you want to do with the tower. It's very versatile.
It's so inspiring, all of you just sharing your story. What I want to do, for those of you who are not growing, and you have questions, we really want to make sure that your questions are answered. Because I would say we're biased in this way. We grow, we know that it's amazing, and we want more people to experience what this nutrition tastes like. There's nothing greater than taking a tomato and tasting all of the vitamins and minerals and nutrients, and you can compare that to what you're getting in your store, and you know that it is not the same at all. So are there any questions that we can answer?
Can I say one more thing, Robin? One of the things I want to just say about broccoli, I one time just broke the leaf off of the broccoli and I put it in my mouth and I tasted it. It was very sweet. It had a sweet taste to it. And then I looked it up. The broccoli leaves are actually more nutritious than the broccoli flower itself. So the Tower Garden foods, you can actually eat the leaves of everything.
Yeah.
He cooked some up last night. Ooh wee.
They're so good. Yes.
Well, somebody says, thanks for the info on the leaves. I eat it all. Yeah,
I eat it all. I eat it all because it's all nutritious, yummy.
Before we wrap up, does any of the panelists, and Anna, Bernetta, or even Donna, anything that I missed or anything that you think, you know what, somebody needs to know this particular thing? Did I leave anything out? And then while they're giving that last minute bits of information, again, if you all are visitors and you have anything you want to know, we're here, we're an open book. I know what some people want to know, and people are like, well, how much does it cost? That's something that people want to know. So I will share that. But
and emptying the tower is very easy. There's a hose that you put on the top and you just plug it in and the water comes out of it. So there's really no, like this is 20, I have a 20 gallon and to empty it, I just roll it to my kitchen sink, put the hose on top, plug in the pump, and it just pumps the water right out. And another thing is I've had my tower 5 years.
Mhm.
I've learned to not do the pH right away. Let the water settle, let the nutrients in there settle down, and then check it a couple of days later, and my pH is usually perfect.
Perfect. Okay.
Mhm.
Any last minute comments from Ann Lee and Jack? Hold
Yes.
on, and Robin, I see your hand. I'll get to you.
That's,
Yes.
I'm Ann Lee.
Yes, Ann Lee, and yes, go ahead, go for it.
Okay, I was just gonna say, one of the things that we found interesting, we were buying the small plants and putting them in to start with. And then
Mhm.
we have bought plants from the store and washed the dirt off and used those. But then we started getting good seeds, grade seeds, and putting them
Mhm.
right in the little neti pots with the lights. And we just redid our tower a week ago, and we've already got plants coming up just from the seed. So we've tried doing it a bunch of different ways. We used to take seeds and put them under some lights outside in a little small tray, but we don't even do that anymore. We just put the seed right in the neti pot with the light package, and it just comes right up, you know.
Mhm.
And then when we clean our tower, my husband prefers to just roll it outside on the driveway, and he uses his pressure washer to clean it. We've cleaned it with muric acid and all kind of things, but that seems to be the easiest way for us, is to use the power washer to
And
clean it.
What's a
Mhm.
neti pot? The question came up, what is a neti pot?
The little pots that let me go get one real quick.
Rock wool
have
is
one
actually
available.
what the seeds are
Yeah,
in.
yeah, rock wool fits in the neti pot that pops into the little hole where the plants go. But it's a piece of rock wool
Donna's
that
running.
fits into the neti pot.
So there's a neti pot.
Yeah.
Okay, Donna, show the neti
There you
pot.
go.
There we go. That's a neti pot.
I
So
prefer
this,
that
yeah, this is the
over
neti pot.
the
Where is it?
little
Can you see it?
stem
There you
thing.
go.
There is a
Okay.
little stem hanger you can use, but we prefer the neti pots and the rock wool that fits in that.
And so the neti pot holds the plant
Yes.
in the tower, yes.
And
And
here's
Robin,
the stick.
And
Here's
that's the
that-
other little thing, right? We don't like that as good as we do the neti pot, which has the rock
that
wool.
popped in. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
prefer that, but we've got both and we've tried both.
Try
I
both.
have
So,
both too.
Robin, I see your hand, so I'll make sure that I get to you. What I want to do is I don't want this recording to go on and on and on and on. So I'm going to actually stop the recording really soon. Bernetta, did you have any last minute anything that and then Anna. So Bernetta, like Anna, Bernetta. Oh my God, Donna, you're the only one. Like, okay, Donna, anything
You know,
else?
One of my favorite things is the sound of the water. I feel
Yeah.
like that ought to be like at the top of the list, that sound out there. And we also have a fan for our inside, and we use the oil very sparingly, but it works wonderfully.
Wow,
Mhm.
very good.
So, and yes, we've grown everything, pretty much everything that's been mentioned today, we've grown it. So,
Yeah.
All right.
and
And I promise that
there's
I'm
a
gonna-
community, there is a community that will help and answer questions. So you're not alone when you first get started. You're not alone at all.
Mhm.
And I promise that Robin, I'm gonna come to your question, and then we'll share what it costs, because I know people want to know that. But Anna, is there anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
If you're
And,
thinking about getting a tower garden, do it today, do it now, because it's a lot easier than
Yeah.
and a lot more affordable than you think it was. Like when I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's probably like hundreds of dollars. I can't afford that. But no, they make it super easy. They make payments on it and like no
Yes.
interest. And it's
No
I
delivery
wish I could-
charges.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Huh?
And
No
Anna
late
has-
charges.
No
nothing
delivery
like that.
charges.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. All right.
And the
So
inside tower is on wheels, it comes on wheels, but the outside tower, you will be happy that you buy the wheels to go
Mhm.
under. That's another little something.
I'm gonna officially stop the recording, and then we'll still have this conversation. But I want to say, for those that are listening as they're recording, to please contact the person that invited you here. And like Anna said, just go ahead and get you a tower. It's just awesome. So let me put that to stop. Now, Rob.